Welcome back to the AM show, and a gentle reminder that the AM show is sponsored by Waylead Properties. Now, before we went on that break, I told you that we've got Miracles Aboagye in studio. He is aide to Dr. Bawumia, a former vice president, and also the NPP's 2024 presidential candidates. You may have seen that this man was very active prior to the 2024 elections and quite active after that. Let's get up to speed with him and get to know what he's been up to. And a lot of things happening in the country so far. Benjamin, we've got a big guest in our studio this morning.
That is...
Man cannot be a big guest. A short man cannot be a big
The last I checked, the very short man was a big man.
That is yeah.
I'm good, bro.
It's been a while, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think we haven't met since
sometime last year.
Yeah. No,
I think
you need to balance yourself into the opposition group, you know.
Okay. So you are finding your...
Oh, no, I found it now.
Your level in the opposition.
So when you start floating, then your neck is under there, you know.
Oh, okay. I since the elections, we've not... And since that time, for a while, you hadn't spoken and, you know...
Well, I was actually on news.
No, I'm saying for a while, you hadn't spoken. Then in recent times, you started, granted. I've followed you. I've followed the interviews you've granted and all of that. I think you were even at Asempa at a point, right? Yes. I followed that.
Yes.
There were some accusations that, from your fraternity that, the Eluzi won't pim since that time. So now you've come back into
That's true.
How are you doing, though?
We're good. We're fine. I mean, we have a country to run. And if you recollect, Dr. Bawumia, during his concession speech, was quite categorical that he was going to give the government time and room to settle down. And that as a leader in this country, and a very prominent one for that matter, he's going to work with the MPP to ensure that we are not a disruptive opposition, but we become an opposition that would provide some proper input into our governance to make sure that our country gets to where we are getting to. And I think that's what we are all trying to do, to simply ensure that on day-to-day basis, the education for our children and our people is getting better, road infrastructure getting better, jobs for the young people. We are doing better in health and every other sector you can think of as a country. And I think that's our preoccupation right now, to work with government as much as we can to ensure that our country doesn't retrogress.
All right. And MFI and I will be, since we've sandwiched you, we'll be shooting questions from different ends. But I feel we should start from the MPP's front before we come to what is happening now, the current government, governance issues, and all of that. Just briefly, from the last encounters we had, even on the back of the polls by Global Info Analytics, you were pretty, sure that the MPP would win. You threw a challenge to me at one point. You said, look, by this time, it didn't happen. What happened?
Well, I mean, I think it's an election. You go in with all your strategies and all your plans. You put in all the energy you could. And for me, I think that we applaud all the MPP members and sympathizers across the country. The over 41.75% of the Ghanaian people who voted for their party across the country and our parliamentary candidate. When you go into an election, it's just like the football that we play. The only difference between elections and our sport is that there is no draw. There surely would have to be a winner. And so the Ghanaian people in the 2024 elections thought that the propositions being made by the president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, was quite superior to the proposition that we were making. And so they decided to rather vote for him and not our party. I think that's what democracy is all about. That's what democracy is all about. It's about the aspirations of the people. It's about the expectations of the people. And if at every point in time the people feel that this is a direction with which we want to go, we just have to, respect that. And once the elections are over, we come together and forge ahead, ensuring that the specific things that for which the people voted would be implemented. Then it takes us to the next level.
But before MFA comes in, did you expect this kind of gap? Because I think I listened to Osaichi Mensah-Bonsu, the former majority leader, make the point that as of August, or was it earlier, when you had polled internally, you were even falling below the 38% that initially, because it came up to about 41%, you got in the election, that you were getting about 30%, that things were looking pretty bad. Was it not obvious from then?
No. I don't think that's what he said. Unless he said something else somewhere that I haven't heard.
What did he say?
But we never had any such polls as at August depicting that. What I think I've seen or read that our senior said was that as we moved towards the elections, we're getting better. And so he thought that between August and December, we had improved very much in terms of our electoral fortunes. I mean, that's something that everybody actually acknowledges. You'd recall that from, I think, January 2024 till the elections, the MPP, and for that matter, our presidential candidates, came from a very wide gap earlier on, almost all the polls. Initially, the polls were putting him somewhere around 28%. Then every month we kept, improving and getting better than it was in the previous month. And I think that's what he was trying to. So
let me just quote him here. If you go to myjoyonline.com, it's dated the 17th of March 2025. And I said it off my head without even having read because of what I recalled. The title is, if elections were in August 2024, Bawumia would have polled about 30%, Chi Mensah-Bonsu. The relevant quote being, if they had conducted, or let me just start from here. I started seeing signs that the election would not be easy, but we still hoped for a better outcome. The fact that the elections were held in December allowed us to regain some support. If they had been, that is the elections, had been conducted in August, Dr. Bawumia would have polled around 30%, and this is a quote, against John Mahama, because at the time economic hardships were severe. That's what he said.
So absolutely. So it's exactly what I'm saying. So he didn't refer to a poll. I mean, like I said, if you paid attention to the polling from the various institutions, you'd realize that Dr. Bawumia and the party kept improving month on month in terms of the electoral fortunes. And that's basically what I think Honorable Osaichi Mensah-Bonsu was referring to. But Ben, the fact of the matter is that every election has its own dynamics. 2024 elections was not one that anybody expected in terms of the gap. Similar to 2016 elections. You recall that until 2016 elections, nobody would have even imagined anybody in this country losing an election by 1 million votes. Until 2016, nobody would have imagined. So when 2016...
800,000.
Well, I mean, thereabouts. But you recall that when that happened, people were shocked. In fact, people said that the NDC had collapsed and that the NDC would be in opposition for 50 years, 60 years, all manner of things. And that there's no way they can recover from such a huge gap at that time. And a lot of political scientists could not even have anticipated a bigger gap than that, the gap we had in 2016. But here we are. Subsequently,
look at it from 800,000 to about 500,000.
And then now 1 point.
The feeling was that still, I mean,
it's big.
You're going to catch up with 500,000.
You come to 200,000. Because you recall in 2008, we lost with practically barely some 47,000. So let's just begin to understand that the Ghanaian democracy is growing. And it's a very good one. It's a positive one. That we have a democracy where millions of people can go this way in these elections. And then the next day, you see all of them moving towards this way based on what their aspirations are. For me, that is the positive thing that we need to look at in this. Our job now, as a political party, is to continuously provide that opposition responsibility that our democracy and our multi-party system brings upon us.
Which I think we'll come to.
That is to provide credible alternative.
Absolutely.
To everything that the government is doing.
We'll come
then the
to
people
that
would
shortly.
appraise that and then take decisions.
We'll come to that shortly. Let's just take you back a little bit to the elections again. So beyond the big picture as to this is democracy, obviously you go to elections hoping that you win, and if you don't win, you look at the external factors. But it's been some months after the election. For you, from where you sit, especially because you led the Bawumia campaign, if you look back and you do a micro analysis of the party itself, and especially from what Osei Mensah-Bonsu said again some months ago, that the reports that he had been tasked to conduct in the Ashanti region, despite him not giving us the details of the report, some bit he mentioned that when the very ordinary persons in the Ashanti region was interviewed, masons, hairdressers, the barbers, some of the things they discovered were quite shocking. I'm not sure what it is, was quite shocking. I hope that you know what it is that they said. It was quite shocking. But today, from where you sit, if you overlook and you oversee, what are some of the internal reasons you think may have caused the loss of the NPP?
I don't discuss internal party issues on air.
Okay.
I'll never do that.
Are they secrets?
No, yes, they are secrets to our organization, which obviously you are not a member of. So for our viewers who are members of our party...
How do you know, though?
No, you are not supposed to be. You're a journalist. You cannot be a card-bearing member of a party. You can go and vote based on issues.
What law bars?
Oh, once I know you belong to a particular party, I'd be worried about your independence.
If she were a member, yet she would come here and do her job.
It will be difficult. It will be difficult. You cannot be... Politics is partisan. You understand? It's very politics.
Being a card-bearing member doesn't mean
you are partisan.
No,
you are partisan.
Anything.
Once you
just
go,
bear a card.
Then let's be practical. Once you go and pick a political party's card,
yes,
you become partisan. You have a responsibility to protect that party, because when you are taking the card has certain rules.
Which which will mean that if it was privy to this secret, so-called secret, then I would have...
So you raised internal issues.
Right.
Internal issues are for internal people.
Absolutely.
And I want to use your platform to urge all my party people. Don't let the media people, coerce you and trick you into discussing internal issues.
It's
at the police station level.
Let me rephrase this.
I don't know what trickery.
At the police station level.
Yes.
There are police station executives whose responsibility are to organize the party at the base. It goes to the lecture area level. It goes to the constituency, region, and the national level. Each of these levels are organizations on their own with their leadership. If there's an internal issue in my police station, which you know very well, like the Methodist Primary School, we will sit down at the MPP people at that police station and discuss those.
I think the point is well made. Maybe a bigger or umbrella question would be, from where you sit months after the elections, what would you have done differently?
I mean, it's not about what we would have done differently.
Okay.
Because if we do that, then we are saying that the Ghanaian people go to the polls based on how we manipulate them as politicians. That's not the issue.
Okay.
So the people voted for a government that will give them because they believe in that. The people voted for a government that says that I will end Galamsey in 2 weeks. They believe in that. The people voted for a government that says that the president is deliberately not signing the LGBTQI.
The NDC said it would end Galamsey in 2 weeks.
Yes.
Is that what they said?
The Minister of Communication, I'll quote him for you. Yes, he said it. He said it.
Minister of Communications is not...
He's a cabinet member. Otherwise, he's a cabinet member?
Is he the main arrowhead?
Yes. He's a cabinet member of the government. He said it. He's a cabinet member. The Minister for Communication.
Is he the minister? Is he the sector minister? Is he the president?
But you're a cabinet member. Otherwise, then...
At the time he said this, what was he?
He was a leading member. He was a parliamentary candidate, a member of parliament of the party.
He was being vetted.
He was a ranking member of the communications committee. So he's no mean of a person. Okay? And so the people voted for that. And let's give credence to the people. So the people voted on issues. The people voted for a government that says that double track is bad. And that government says that when I come, I'll abolish double track right there and then. They voted for a government that says that when we come, we'll make first year university education free.
Let's start with Galamsey.
Okay.
Let's start with Galamsey.
Okay. Maybe before we get into Galamsey, because it's going to be a long one, just a quick thought. Yeah. There are some things you can't say. I find it curious because Osei Mensah-Bonsu again and other party stalwarts have spoken, publicly. Even there was a time where the Nchiayeso MP Stika, Dr. Namwa, was aggrieved with some reports that had come from the Ashanti region and all of that. There's been talk about your messaging. There's been talk about some complaints within your party that even there was money given to some bigwigs that was not distributed and all of that. And then we had that interaction. I'll just end there so that you sum it up for us, where Dr. Bawumia, the candidate of the MPP, recognized, congratulated you, the communications team, and said that it wasn't really your fault, but that, you know, other elements, the media was against you and all of that. We took the fall for that. How do you address that? Because those are all, you know, from your party, and they've come out there. So the verdict is out there anyway.
We can't have political conversations without parties anyway.
Our party is going through a restructure, and I want you to hear me on this. We are rebuilding. As part of the rebuilding processes, there are certain things we should do and shouldn't do. One of the things we should not do is to be discussing obvious internal issues in the public space in the manner with which some people have done. We've had conversations at the back end, and we've engaged, and we've told them, listen, yeah, you may probably have fallen in that space, but hold your horses for now. And I think that is what everybody should do.
Is Sarah Adjoa part of this restructuring?
Yes.
She is?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you understand.
Since you're talking of what people say,
hold your horses for now. I mean, it's a big organization. Once in a while, people will slip. It's okay. So it's okay when people slip and they get into that conversation. But why should we come and discuss what happened with our party and our campaign in Seshiri, also our campaign in our win on TV? How does it benefit even the viewer? The viewer doesn't care about that. The viewer simply cares about what alternative you are bringing as a political party to the economic issues, to their health sector, to their education.
They also do realize that for your party faithful, because there are always
we have meetings.
Those who are,
they come to meetings.
Hold.
The party faithfuls come to meetings.
Your party faithful,
they come to meetings.
Walking on the streets of Kokomlemle, how many of them attend your
Those who want to hear the issue.
For those who maybe say, look, our party lost, we feel aggrieved, we want to know why, because you can't solve something if you've not identified the problem, right?
Yes.
Shouldn't you be talking about, look, we acknowledge this is what happened and we are trying to remedy it? You don't think that's necessary?
So let me explain to you. For example, in the past 2 months, there's been a lot of rebuilding going on. Constituencies are having their conferences. Polling stations are having cleanup exercises and social events. The TESCON on our campuses, UPSA, Invest of Ghana, UCC, it's been all over the place. That is where we discuss internal issues. You are not there.
Did you show your card before you enter? If you're coming for these meetings?
We know our membership, yes. An NDC member cannot come to our party meeting. Before an NDC member comes to our party meeting, you would have converted.
The media also could not?
No, it's a party meeting.
So if that NDC member wants to join your party?
No, you convert before you come and join our meeting. Why? Have you seen the presbyter going to a Methodist men's fellowship executive meeting?
But I mean, I think your point is well.
Yeah,
hopefully when the restructuring is
it would help. It would help.
But
you know, it's okay when the sensations are there and all the emotions are all over the place. But we need to protect our democracy. And one of the ways of protecting our democracy is to ensure that political parties like the NDC and MPP, are formidable at all times. And putting internal issues out there in the manner in which the media wants, which is rightly so, you have committed no crime, it doesn't help.
I'm not sure the part that doesn't help, but we can put this here in the back there.
No, it helps you, but it doesn't help.
Okay, so let's start with Galamsey. Again, it's okay to count the numbers, the days, the weeks, or the months that this new government has just started. What can you say about the fight against Galamsey currently?
Let me frame Ben. I'm a very, very strongly opinionated person. And that is why a lot of people will tell you that if I'm not factual, I don't speak to issues. When these Galamsey issues came up and we're in government, I constantly said it. And I think I was with you, Ben, on a show here on Galamsey. I remember when I mentioned Tony Obin's name and all manner of things. I said that Galamsey is a social canker. It's a menace that if you politicize, the country will be extinguished. And so we should be careful the manner in which we attempt to politicize Galamsey. The reason why now, sometimes when I wake up and I see Galamsey issues and the way this government is struggling with it, I feel like, let's just laugh at them. It's because we told them and they knew what we were saying was right.
What did you say?
But we told them that, listen, it is wrong for you to go and stand on a campaign trail as a presidential candidate, and our president, Isasa Jomama, and tell the people that I don't see why the MPP government will come and arrest you people in the pit. And that when I come to office, and it's on your portal, My Joy News, I would release all of you Galamseyers who were arrested in the pit and give you your excavators and go for the Kingpins. That is what he said. we had NDC apparatchiks, top leadership, the current CEO of the Petroleum Hub Corporation, Dr. Tony Obeng, and NDC leadership, Kwaku Boahen and co, in the Galamsey pit, telling Galamseyers that the MPP wants to destroy your job. This thing, we've been doing this since ancestors' days, and it's a video, so the fact is there. Vote for us. When we come, the day you hear that we have been announced winners of these elections, come back to the pit and come and dig.
That's not being fair.
Oh, no, should I quote you?
What was?
No, play the video. Play the video. You have the video. Play the video. Play the video. No, Ben. No. Don't do that.
Okay.
You are impugning me, and don't do that.
Don't start using your
Let me quote. No, Emefa, let me quote. No. If I am telling you facts and you tell me that
some part of it, I recall.
No. It is fact, not some part. And I'll do it again.
Everything.
I'll do it again. Tony Obeng was standing. You have the video. If you really are sure about your position,
all videos here.
No, but I've sent it to Kingsley. I've sent it to Kingsley. If you really are sure, play the video. Tony Obeng was there. The parliamentary candidate for that constituency, one Muslim named Sadat also, was there. Kwaku Boahen was there. And these are Kwaku Boahen's words. The parliamentary candidate's words were also these. Munim se juma we minimu nyina na eye. NPP for no hu se abato eba bedu so no. And on masha da eyi soldier for no free aha. Na mom me catch am mo to abawie ye mo nyina reba. Na da ye to aba no mo master for no omo nya mo na mo nyina mo koto aba ma NDC. Na mo to aba no wie ne ye bobodi na mo te se mawi ni pe. Mo nyina mo bra na ma Galamsey. This is a public video. What are you talking about?
Let's start with the president.
You understand?
So let me
Dennis, hold for me. So in anticipation you send this video to Kingsley.
No, not in anticipation. I told you that 3 months ago or 4 months ago.
That's interesting.
We're having hold on. We're having this conversation here, and I sent the video to Kingsley. He's a producer. He has the video.
Right.
But let's come back to the conversation.
Let's come back to.
So all I am saying is that this attitude and posture of the then opposition is what has led to the escalated nature of Galamsey. You know why? Because the people simply think that these are the people who told us that when they come, they will allow us to mine. And so once they are here, it is time for us to
let me quote one of.
We used to do.
Just hold your horses. This story is from December the 3rd, 2024, and this is what the current president says. He says, "I know that here in Adanse, and of course we can't look through all of them, but I'm giving one example just to communicate what he was saying. I know that here in Adanse, you deeply value small-scale mining. The NDC will bring policies to support small-scale miners and ensure the land is preserved for future generations."
So you see, the problem I have, and you constantly...
And I'm not saying that this is all of what he said, but this is one of the...
So let me help you.
Is this positive or negative?
So let me help you. Ghana Web, I'll grant all Galamseyers imprisoned under Akufo-Addo amnesty. The 2024 flag bearer of the NDC, John Mahama, 4 years ago, in the run-up to the 2020 election, promised to pardon all illegal miners who have been imprisoned under Nana Danko Akufo-Addo if he returns to power. Speaking at Edum Bamso in the Mpoho constituency in the Western region, to kickstart his 4-day campaign, Mahama stated that it is ridiculous to have a foreigner engaged in the same illegal activity, released without any prosecution or fine, but sentence our own people to these consequences. The former president added that he would get illegal miners back to the fields to work in a more controlled environment as captured in his party's manifesto. It is sad that government said it was fighting Galamsey, and they arrested, prosecuted, and jailed Ghanaians who were engaged in that activity, but left Chinese people to go. Today, they are still in prison. The Chinese Galamseyers who were arrested have been left to go free. They were never prosecuted, but our people are in jail. When we come, we shall grant all those arrested and jailed amnesty. They will come back to their homes and work. I believe that these operators are remorseful towards any unlawful activities. So we'll give them another chance. So you see...
But what
hold on.
These aspects we have not contested, have we?
No, hold on.
Because these we have even condemned here.
So that's what I'm talking about.
But it's not everything.
No, so that's the point. So why are you making a point that I haven't made? I am telling you that if you have a former president who is aspiring to be president, tell the people that when I come, those who committed crimes against the state and have been found culpable by a court of competent jurisdiction will be left to go because the government is wicked, because the government is allowing Chinese people to leave the country. And then when you come, basically all you are telling those people is that, as for you, you are a friend. And so now that you have come, one, you release us, and two, you're not going to prosecute us and arrest us. That's MFA. You can beat around the bush. You can try to jump around it. That is one of the reasons why today Galamsey has gone a top notch higher than it was 4 months ago.
You have just said that. Now, so I've allowed you to make a point. Make your second point.
You just made a point that Galamsey has gone a notch higher.
If you don't think so, it's okay.
Where are the metrics to prove?
Ben, if you don't think Galamsey has got a notch higher, it's okay.
I want us to
the viewers and the public who are following the story.
Say you're very factual. I'm asking you, based on what are you making this?
Based on what metrics? Were you always before now saying that the Galamsey and you putting cameras all over the country saying that Galamsey was on a rise? Based on what metrics?
No, I mean,
were you
doing
based, for example, on passing LI?
So your metrics today tell you that
based on LI 246, for example.
No, hang on. Gentlemen, hang on.
Ben, just take your time. This Galamsey matter, it's not one that we should do PR with it all. It will swallow all of us.
Miracles.
It will swallow all of us.
I think all of us.
Miracles.
Let's again set the ground rules. We are interviewing you.
Oh no, but I'm also responding to you. I'm also responding to you in the same manner.
Just take it easy.
In the same manner.
So you recall that you had quoted the former president.
Yes.
And among one of the things that many people have been saying, he said, which is with me, and I want us to even go a little further, is the fact that he says he will, if you're correct, he will release the ones that are working in the pits and go after the kingpins. If you were not a politician and if you were not part of the previous government, what imputation will you put to this?
So that is why the people voted for you. And that's the point I made earlier. So the people voted for you because you said that you go after Kingpins. So now you come. 3 months or 4 months in office. You have not shown any single sign of going after the Kingpins. Rather, you are still in the pit, arresting the same people you told that you would release. First of all, what you have done is that you have misled them. You have deceived them into believing that you will not come after them.
And so for
now, you take them, and then wait, hang on. You remember I quoted the point he made at Adanse on the Chinese people. So you come to office. You said something else before we voted for you. You come to office. You go into the pit. You go and arrest these same boys you said you released. And then now you are deporting the Chinese people that you accused the previous.
Do you recall that at the end of that article that you read, you said that he believes that these people would have been remorse about their actions. So they'll bring them back and provide a more conducive environment for them to work. But so that's what I'm saying. Let's assess the process.
No, but that's what we are
Let's start. So at least in the last 3 months, say 2 months, you may have heard, the conversation started with the repeal of the LI, which the environmental minister has said, the Lands and Natural Resources minister has said that has been laid in Parliament. The conversation and the civil societies have said that it looks like an amendment more than a repeal. That's a step we can discuss. You've also heard about the river guards that are being trained to deploy to the river bodies, at least. You may have seen the EPA's assessment and all of that. Are we in any way saying that so far we haven't seen anything at all about this government trying to fight Galamsey, no matter how significant? Let's establish that.
Let's have this conversation without interruption, like the way I allowed you to land.
Go ahead, make your point.
So you see, when we have a canker like Galamsey, and you have an opposition leader then, His Excellency Mahama, tell you that the government is doing A, it is wrong. It doesn't give a solution. Vote for me, I will do B. The government is doing C. Forget that one because it's not working. Vote for me, I will do D. When you win power, we don't expect you to come and do the A and the C that the previous government is doing, and not to do your B and D. Simply implement what it is that you promised that you will do when it comes to dealing with Galamsey. Tell me one thing that this government has done in the past 4 months about Galamsey that was not in existence as of 7 January 2025 when they took over power. River guards. Do you know when river guards were commissioned in this country by the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources? River guards with their boats, with their drones. They have been there all this while. This is not the first batch of river guards. They are still there. So, and it's on your portals. Go to My Joy Online. Your news people follow it. So river guards is not something that the government, a novelty that the government has brought, which this country hasn't seen before to fight Galamsey. Is that what you promised us? Something that we were doing already, that you claim was not giving us results? That's what you are doing. Number 2, you said you were going to repeal the LI. You didn't say you were going to amend the LI. As it stands now, Mifa, stop the PR. It doesn't seem like an amendment. It is an amendment. The government has taken no step to go and repeal the LI. What the government has done is to take steps to amend the LI. That wasn't the promise. Number 3, you said that when you come to office, you will not go after these boys in the pit, and that you will go after Kingpins. In the past 4 months, have you had any Kingpin arrested other than the same boys in the pit? As at December 2024, Galamseyers in the pit were still being arrested. As at October 2024, on your portal, My Joy Online, you were reporting Galamseyers who have been arrested by the previous government. So if you are arresting Galamseyers in the pit, you have done nothing, because this country has been doing that since 2013. Since 2013, this country has been arresting Galamseyers, has been burning excavators, has been moving with military and police into the forest reserves. That is no novelty. You promise the people that when you come, you think that this country's Galamsey situation has gotten to the point where our lives are at risk, and it's a national security matter. So you, the president now, you were backing some civil society organizations and calling for a state of emergency, and saying that this country was at a point where we should call for a state of emergency. You have been in government for four months. Galamsey has escalated. Galamsey today is worse than it was in December 2024. Why haven't you called for a state of emergency?
You would say that is worse
If you
today.
don't think so, that's fine.
No, I'm only asking.
That is my view. And the viewers are also out there assessing it. Yeah, let me tell you. Up until the NDC came to,
and I want you to wrap.
You would not see people in Osino, okay, doing Galamsey at Osino Market. Today they are doing it in the middle of town. Have you used the Kumasi Road recently? Right by the roadside. Your own reporter who has been reporting on Galamsey all this while. I quote him. He's here. I'll quote him. And I have had my own issues with Erastus in the past, but I'm quoting him because what he did to us is what he's doing to the same government.
If you had issues with the Erastus reportage, how is it relevant?
No, it's a different matter. It's not important.
It's not. Is it about this?
My views and my opinions is not.
It won't matter.
No, relax.
Miracles.
So this is what he says.
Hang on.
I'm telling you that
it won't be fair. You know that it won't be fair that in the past, his reportage, you've had a problem.
No. I said I've had my own issues with Erastus.
With him? Is it with him personally?
No, he knows. We banter. He knows. We banter.
Let's move the conversation.
So 19 hours ago, this is what Erastus said. The president cannot watch on for this to happen constantly. I have notified the right authorities, including the sector ministry, but very little agency is attached to it. How can party people lay claim over illegality in such brazen manner across the country and leaders watch on? Galamsey is being done in protected reserves in such brazen manner by known party people who feel entitled because they claim it's their turn. The more we notify authorities, very little is done. These images show current mining in the Tano Nimri Forest Reserve and the extreme pollution of the Tano River. How do we allow people with connections to illegally enter a protected forest and degrade it and steal the resources, leaving degraded lands for citizens to pay for? Why is it difficult for authorities to end this crime? The only answer that makes sense is that it involves people close to them. I am saying that if I don't quote Erastus and I quote somebody else, you will say that Miracles is exaggerating.
It's okay, make the point.
This is Erastus. Galamsey today is escalated than it was 4 months ago.
Simple question.
The government of the day promised us specific things.
Right.
And I left
think you've elaborated enough on
repeal the LI. 2, call for a state of emergency.
Right.
3, stop arresting the boys in the pit and go after the Kingpins. These are specific things you said you will do when you win power. Until you do those things, let me first stop telling the people that the government has done something.
If you achieve it without implementing these 3 promises, would it be? Why
do you think that what you thought was being done that could not give results?
We're not robots, are we?
No.
What is
the same thing
is that
the same results. That's what it is.
Over the last how many weeks we've been talking about the same points. I've spoken time without number about LI 2462 and that it must be revoked. not amended. In fact, if you read some of the research by Arosha Ghana, they talk about how much more forest reserves we can get secure, over 60% if we revoke, rather than about 10% if we amend. The bit you are talking about a state of emergency, we've sat here. I have engaged eco-conscious citizens. I've participated in their programs. And we've all lambasted this administration on those same points. So you are literally preaching to the choir on those.
No, I'm not talking to
those,
I'm talking to the viewers.
As for those very points,
but they must be
points
made.
that we all.
No, but then don't come and tell me that this government is doing it.
Let me
but they've done nothing new.
No, we're asking. So in 4 months, comparing to 8 years, you think that this government is still on the same journey as?
But the things I've mentioned to you, the things you mentioned that they've done, they are things that were done. They were still in place as of January 7th. Mention one new thing. There's nothing new. Mention one new thing that this government has done on Galamsey. One. You don't have.
Is that a concession then? If you say that all the mechanisms have failed, is that a concession that throughout your 8 years, your mechanisms at tackling Galamsey were also failures?
If you followed my conversation on Galamsey, you'd realize that, yes, that's my answer. Because I have always said that the manner in which we politicize Galamsey is the reason why these mechanisms are failing. And that is why I recently even made a post. I think even the rest of us made a comment about it, and we had our own banter. That's a different matter. I think that MPP in particular shouldn't go the path the NDC went when they were in opposition. That is my view. I think that no matter how much this government would have lied to the people to power on this Galamsey matter, we should put politics aside and not play politics with it and work with the government to get Galamsey solved. Until we depoliticize Galamsey, it doesn't matter the strategy MFI you put in place. It would not work. When you read
that definitely, and because I want us to...
It will not work.
I think it is common knowledge
it will not work.
That problem.
You understand?
And everyone will tell you that both parties are neck deep. They have people in it. But we don't have all the time to talk about that.
Today you are saying both parties. In 2024 December, you said MPP people.
Oh, because at the time...
It is NDC people, it's not both parties. Today, the Galamseyers are NDC people, not both parties. No MPP person is in the pit. When you go and the NPP person in the pit, arrest him, jail him for life. It is NDC people who are doing Galamsey.
Have you identified one NDC person? That
yes, your news portal, this your station, show the video. Yes. This your station. Show the video of NDC chairman almost strangling a military officer and asking him why he's in the pit. So yes, your station
So that makes him a Galamseyer?
Yes, but he's an NDC guy.
Okay.
And he's a Galamseyer. And your own reporter, Erastus, has constantly been giving indicators of those who are doing it.
Let's have a
The point I am making is that...
You say there are no mechanisms. I just want to find out.
New.
Gold board.
No new.
The gold board. What do you think about it?
Gold board
Will it help in dealing with, Galamseyers? Because like it or not... I'm asking you a question.
No, show me. Because I don't see...
Like it or not...
I've read a gold board law. And I don't see where it addresses illegal mining.
Let's hear
the question. Thank you. As part of the responsibilities of gold board is going to be an assayer and everything in between. It will be a one-stop shop where people can actually deliver their gold, get value, central bank rates, at least for now till April the 30th, the window they've given, they are going to sort of regulate the entirety of the industry. I'm simply asking you, would this be a part of the solution in curing our curse where people, of course, want to do their own thing, secure gold at their local level for individual gain, but now they are saying they are trying to streamline it. I'm asking you, is that part of the solution?
No, it's not.
Why?
It's not because Galamsey is illegal mining. It is a group of people who are hiding under the darkness to recover or bring out these minerals without legitimate, let's say, regulations or licenses.
But they say they are trying to regulate all these people.
How do you regulate
to come forward?
How do you regulate an armed robber? How? What are we talking about? Are we playing? How do you regulate an armed robber, Ben? How do you regulate a thief?
But I thought I'd known some of your members in the previous administration in 2024 talk about the fact that you can't go past the Galamseyers. They are everywhere. So what you have to do is actually get them together, regulate them, and even Dr. Baumia was talking about the gold catcher machines and all of that. Was that not the same idea you were using?
So you see, then you are not talking about illegal mining. then you're not talking about Galamseyers. Then you are talking about a solution that I think is a good one. That you provide an alternative, a more formal and regulated alternative way of mining, and hope that these criminals who go under the darkness to go and mine would say that this option that you have given us is one that we will take. But I don't see anything like that in the gold board. Okay, I've read the gold board law. I don't see anywhere in the law that says that a Galamseyer in Osino or Etiwa East, okay, this is it for you, and that today don't go to the mining pits, but come and do this. And gold board is there to buy gold.
So the public knowledge, is that
small-scale miners who are doing the right thing progressively. Is the idea not to get, and this was espoused as well, is the idea not to get people away from illegal mining, and maybe if they can become regulated small-scale miners, would that be a positive?
Where in the gold board have you seen
I'm asking you a general question.
But you said gold board, and I'm saying that it's nowhere in the gold board. It's a good thing.
I am not saying specifically. You made a point and said that could help.
But it's progressive. So what is the progress? Where? What is the blueprint? That's what I'm asking. Ben, you are saying that progressive. Okay. So the assumption with progression is that there's something going on.
The point I've just made.
Yes.
Would it be a positive in tackling calamity?
Yes. In fact, if government, you said gold board. If government should put in place a system, and I've always said it, there are two things that government needs to do. It's a social mindset thing. First of all, whilst you are doing all these things, there must be a deliberate social reorientation or mindset reorientation in these areas for them to understand the dire effects of Galamsey on them and the entire nation. Then you provide an alternative form of livelihood, which will include those who would lay down their tools completely and come and do other things. Or those you would want to bring on board, provide resources to, and properly regulate for them to become small-scale miners. That, for me, I think would be the way forward.
I know it's quite late in the day. It's quite late in the day, but what was the NPP or Dr. Baumier's plan?
I was just about to get to that.
What was his plan before?
So Dr. Mahmoud Baumia said that, listen, these guys, they've grown up in these areas. That's all they know to do. So the more you go and fight them, the more they find clandestine way of even committing the same crime. So one, he's going to set up the Minerals Bank, which is going to be the financial backbone to the mineral extraction sector. Two, these Galamseyers are going to be sat down, reoriented, and then encouraged to put themselves into proper cooperatives, given the necessary backing, which includes...
How is that different from what we were just discussing?
What is different? Is it being done? You said gold board will do it, and I'm telling you, it's not in the gold board. It's not in the gold board law.
What is this fascination with gold board?
But you brought it up.
I spoke about it briefly, and then I started talking about general solutions. What could be done? Asking you whether these would...
But I agree with you.
Said,
yes, I agree with you. And that is the proposition.
It's not No.
You said gold board.
We're on a journey. Let's stay with the...
Go ahead. Finish.
So he would provide the data.
Okay.
The data is to help these Galamseyers or small-scale miners, let me put it in that form, to stop scavenging and just digging everywhere, hoping they find minerals. But at least this time around, they have the data that says that this place, there is gold. Then government provides them with the necessary machinery. That's where he mentioned, Dr. Baumia talking about the gold catcher machine, and give them the financial muscle so that they do not even need the Chinese people. Because what is happening is that when the Ghanaian person has some land somewhere in the Etiwa forest somewhere, because they don't have the muscles to bring all these machines, chamfan, excavators, they go to China. Go and bring the Chinese people to come and help them. And at the end of the day, you realize that even our own people who are committing this crime, they get very little.
Okay.
And then the Chinese
so
the
composite of this, you believe, would fare better than what we are seeing now, right?
Oh, yes.
In fact,
and it's something that I encourage.
We have limited time. Let's
encourage government
MFR,
to really do.
Quick one. We have to move on.
Yeah, in fact, and this is because we wanted to put clarity on the gold board. Not that we speak for the government or anything, but if you look at the public understanding of what illegal mining is, it's believed to stem from small mining. Even because we have small miners who are licensed, right? Who are small scale miners who have license to mine. But the illegal ones will stem from that because we are unable to regulate, as you have said, a thief or an armed robber. You cannot regulate them. So the Gold Board, as part of their mandate, says that they are going to be putting all these small-scale miners into one, so they're able to regulate it. Because at least if you can oversee behind you, you can be able to at least mitigate the thief, right?
Small-scale miners are already regulated.
So if you can oversee,
yeah, but they are already being overseen.
at least it makes the entry of the thief a little bit smaller, right?
Some of them are still engaging in illegality.
Let's help government.
Are you not aware?
Let's help government to function well, and let's stop playing semantics. Small-scale miners are already regulated.
Some of them engage in illegality anyway.
But those are not small-scale miners. If you are a small-scale miner, you have a license. You have been given a concession. You've been given
small-scale miners with licenses, even per the group admitting.
Yes, but even there are big mining firms who are even still doing this criminality.
So it doesn't mean that once they are small-scale miners, everything is perfect.
The point here is that he says that Gold Board says they are coming to oversee small-scale miners. And when they do that, it will help. And I'm saying that small-scale miners are being overseen, even without Gold Board.
So at least
they are being regulated.
It's a better sector.
How is it? It's the same thing. How is it?
I'm talking of the small-scale mining setup.
Yes, they are not Galamseyers.
Because they have a lot of regulation.
They are not Galamseyers.
So point made.
It is the thieves and the criminals who are in the dark doing these things. They are the ones we are talking about.
We still have a lot to talk about. But I just want to segue back briefly on, I would have wanted us to do that before getting into Galamsey. The Bawumia factor, just quick reflections on that. I've heard talk about
national development.
Actually, we were going to do that before
national development. And do that one.
No. There are so many other issues, and I don't want.
Why are you so much interested in our internal?
Unless you don't want to talk about it.
Yes, but I reserve the right to talk or not. But let me hear you first.
It's your decision.
I'll hear you first, then I'll decide.
There's been a lot of talk about the candidate you chose. The most recent of them being Owusu Bempah. And he made a comment just very recently, and he said that for him, the loss of the MPP was because of the wrong candidate that was selected. And I have also heard of similar comments coming from different big wigs of your party, suggesting, some of them saying in confidence that things didn't inure to the benefit of the party because of the candidate that was selected. To what degree do you think the selection of Dr. Bawumia was problematic for the MPP?
I honestly speaking, I don't want to. It's not a conversation that I want to go into now.
So Owusu Bempah actually says...
Who's Owusu Bempah?
You know Owusu Bempah, he was a presidential staffer. I'm not talking about...
No, we didn't have a presidential staffer called
I'm talking about NPP member.
No, we didn't have a presidential staffer called Owusu Bempah.
You didn't have a staffer called Owusu Bempah?
No, we didn't.
I see.
So I want to know.
I also know someone was at, was it NPA or Ghana Gas?
Yeah, he's the one.
Oh, now you know him?
Yes.
Okay.
But he's not a presidential staffer.
Right. He says many MPP members didn't vote in 2024 due to, quote, wrong candidate choice.
We are rebuilding our party.
You're rebuilding your party?
I think that, like I said earlier, in our party today, the most experienced politician, active politician in our party today is Dr. Bawumia. There's no doubt about that in our party today. He is the one that has been at the foremost today, actively, and has been at the foremost of this country's politics than any other person. He's been vice president for 8 years. He's been running mate for another 8 years. That alone was 16 years. And he's run for a presidential election. The party rank and file across the country are quite clear in their minds that our only fast route to power would be to stay united, neatly and closely together, work together, behind a leader that has articulated clear-cut alternative policies to the issues that matter most to the people of this country. And that person is Dr. Bawumia. That's one, there's no doubt about it. Data supports it. Our political history even supports that. As for views, I can't verify this because I didn't hear it. I haven't heard it. But as for views being expressed by individuals, I am sure that you are aware that we'll be going into an internal contest. And once we'll be going into an internal contest, we should expect that even within our own
so
party,
we'll leave that
people would disagree. People would disagree with each other and all of that. So let's not really worry too much and play so much beyond. Even with comments like these, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia's posture is that, team, let's work with the party who are committed to ensuring that we get back to power so we can implement these ideas we have for all these sectors. And I think that anything that would distract the party's rebuilding and restructuring is something that I would advise all our party people. It's difficult. Sometimes it's very emotional. It gets sentimental.
This one is not emotional. Let's talk about Operation Feed the Nation. Would you agree?
My interesting takeaway is the fastest way of getting back to power. Fastest. Yes. Maybe not...
Of course, but you can get back to power in 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. So you need to go for the fastest.
But anyway, as a student of political science, I understand. Because why are political parties set up?
Yeah,
they are set up
to win elections.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
It's understandable.
No, but that's all. That's the only reason.
It's understandable.
That's the only reason.
Well, whatever it is, we'll be right here to discuss.
Yes,
Hopefully, you'll be in this seat.
Oh, no, that's every day. I'm your partner. I'm your stakeholder.
Let's talk about the Operation Feed the Nation.
Okay.
And a lot of people have just opposed it with the planting for food in your era. What do you think about the NDC's Operation Feed Ghana?
I mean, I haven't seen the policy document. I haven't really seen the details of what the program will do. But anything that would give us food sufficiency, anything that will give us economic liberation when it comes to food security, I think it's something that we should support. And I think it was on Saturday that the president launched the program. Let's support it and let's see how it turns out. We'll be here again, like you said, maybe after a year to do an appraisal on how far it has gone.
You seem to be giving this government some time to want to operationalize this, but not the same sentiments for Galamsey.
Because that tells you that I'm quite objective with the issues. Because Galamsey, they are failing at it.
I am pretty interested. Interested in that.
Why are you doing that?
Because
why? Let me make my point.
Okay, wait. Go ahead.
Because clearly, Galamsey, they are losing it. They are clueless about how to deal with Galamsey. That is fact. You can play PR with it. You can help them gymnast around it. Fact is that they are struggling. And you know why they are struggling? It's because of their own words. Their own words is what is fighting them. So right now, they are fighting themselves. And that's why Galamsey will be handled in that matter. But Feed Ghana, he says he's going to produce 8 million beds with some number of persons.
Let me help you with some of them. It talks about the promotion of smart agriculture. I can't get into the details.
Yeah, sure.
Grains and legumes development project, vegetable development project, institutional farming, among others. I have said that the way forward for us should be mechanized farming.
Yeah.
Larger scale. When you go to other countries, that's how they are doing it. You don't even have too many people getting into it, but one mechanized farmer can feed, vast numbers of people. My question to you, we've had planting for food and jobs, 1, 2, we've had rearing for food and jobs and all of that. You speak to some of the agricultural experts and they say these did not yield the returns. In fact, Mr. Carrier will refer you to the market. When you go to the market, what are the prices of foodstuffs? Do you think this is any different from those and would make any difference? That's my question.
So I'm hoping that once you are introducing a program, you do an appraisal of the previous one, and then you see the gaps, and then you make sure that the pitfalls or the shortfalls that the previous.
So you're hoping they would have done that?
You would meander around that. You know, the argument about these programs by the Ministry of Agric and prices of food or food stuff is sometimes when we are having that conversation, we should be careful. I have been an MC. I mean, we come from the same municipality. A sack, or is it a bunch they call it, of plantain?
Bunch will do.
A bunch of plantain.
A poor bag.
Will be costing, let's say, 50 cedis at a Adorso market. Okay? That is food in Ghana. But by the time you move from Adorso market to the Medina market, it becomes 300 cedis. So you see, it may not necessarily be the program Planting for Food and Jobs that failed to give us the pricing, but there will be other reasons. Some of the market women at Medina will tell you that the cost of transporting the goods from Adorso to Medina is what influences the pricing. Some of the people will tell you that we even have plantain getting rotten at Manguase because the road from Manguase to Adorso is not in very good shape. So all these experts, sometimes when they are saying some of these things, they are looking at it from a very single view. But there are several things that influence. We've had situations where you go to the farm areas and you have tomatoes and pepper being thrown away. And yet when you come to Accra, the prices are high. The point I'm making is that the prices of foodstuff are not influenced only about the abundance of foodstuff. You can have abundance of foodstuff in the farming areas. but still have price of foodstuff expensive in Accra because of other factors.
Do you anticipate these same factors in this current policy?
That's why I said I'm hoping that this policy would have done appraisal because it's the same ministry, it's the same sector.
So there were flaws that were not addressed, and these must be looked at. For example, transportation, which is a basic, isn't it?
The roads, cost of transport, and all those things, they all matter. They are all factors that matter, and I'm hoping that there will be. You see, when you are running a country, you don't throw everything away, and that's why when you look at the Feed Ghana program, you see complete similarities in the previous one. Why? Because it's the same ministry, the same sector. I see the chief director that was with the MPP still seated at the table with Eric Cooper.
The technocrats.
Exactly. So you'd realize that the ideas will not depart so much from what was in the past. It's just a name that has been changed. But as you change the name, you surely have to do an appraisal of what was done in the past and identify the ones that they don't do so well.
I want us to do in Team Fojo, but just briefly on this agri thing. The president talks about the $4 billion worth of tomatoes we bring in from Burkina Faso. He talks about $400 million in poultry and all of that. Do you feel this gap can be taken care of in maybe 4 years? Practical?
He said he would do it. He said it, and it's in manifesto, and we are supporting him to get it done.
From where you sit,
yes.
to get the manifesto.
It's in the manifesto. It's there.
From where you sit and the variables that you look at, is it achievable?
He knows why he said he could do it. And I'm backing him 100%.
He's merely made mention of where we are. No. And I'm saying, can these be done?
He hasn't merely mentioned.
Apart from their promises.
No, it's not a promise.
These are latest comments that I'm referring to.
Yeah, but he cannot depart from.
Can these be done?
Yes, he cannot depart from why we voted for him. You can't come into office and come and change your position. We voted for you because of the things you said you would do in your manifesto. Yes. Implement them. And I think that based on the things he said, because he said a lot of lofty things. Based on the things he said, I think that
be the first time.
If he implements them, this can be done. But if he fails at implementing them like he's failing at Galamsey, then clearly we will not get anywhere.
Shall we quickly get into it?
Of course, in Team Fojo, so the minority, the NPP, including in Team Fojo himself, do you still hold the suspicion that these flights that came to Ghana may have carried cocaine or may have engaged in money laundering as at this morning?
Eva, this is Team Fojo thing, and please don't interrupt me. I have been following it, and I keep asking myself. 3 days ago, I asked Reverend Team Fojo to send me again his press statement, the very first one he did. Because I wanted to go through it again, because I listened to him. And I kept wondering, how did we get here? Why are we even discussing this matter? Reverend Team Fojo's press statement is very, very simple. And he's here. He sent it to me 3 days ago. MFA, he is the ranking member of Interior and Defense. He did a press conference. He spoke about 4 issues. Paragraph, the first issue was national security raid on 12 containers containing gold and cash. And he simply said, government, on February 9, 2025, you announced that you have found this. Can you please apprise the country on the status of that investigation? That was the first one. In fact, that was the first one.
In fact, we recall all of it. We took it live.
Hang on. No. Hang on. I'm making a point. Then Ahmed was second. What did he say with Ahmed? He never said anywhere in the press statement that he did. He never said anywhere that government is importing cocaine. For government to even be defending and now become PR for Ahmed. And I was wondering who drew our government into this mess. The gentleman simply said that on another security matter related to our airspace, the Minority Caucus calls on national security to, as a matter of urgency, make public the content of cargo suspected to be cocaine and cash transported into the country by 2 suspicious flights, namely Ahmed flights and then Kavok Air private jet. Antonov, then he gave the number, which landed on the tarmac of Kotoka International Airport, and then he gave the date. Then he said that report indicates that March 20, 2025, Ahmed flight, which is an air ambulance designed to specifically carry patients, landed at the airport without a patient. Emefa, think about this. You are a citizen of Ghana. You hear that an air ambulance that is supposed to move only with patients, okay, has moved from an island that is notorious for cocaine, drugs, and money laundering, and landed in your country for 5 days without a patient, and then leaves your country and goes back to the island. And then you ask, government, can you please investigate? Because this island, they are known for money laundering. And if these things continue to happen, the international community will see us in a certain light. How do you come to me for evidence? Which evidence am I supposed to give you? Okay. The evidence here, the only evidence I'm supposed to give you is that one, is it true that the island is notorious for cocaine, drug peddling, and money laundering? If that is the case, then that is evidence enough for you to investigate. Two, is it true that the air ambulance landed in this country without a patient and left this country without a patient? If that is the case, then you should be curious. Why would an ambulance moved from an island that is notorious for drug and money laundering come into our country without any patient and go back like that? That is suspicious. So if somebody asks you to investigate it,
some of the explanations that have been given
by the
about having to land in Ghana for specific
so you see,
that followed those.
That is even what even made the suspicion even more prominent.
So as of this morning, do you still hold the suspicion?
Yes. So let me just ask you. So far, I mean, you've spoken for a while. So far, the Ghana Airport Company Limited has said they searched all of these planes. NACOC has said that they were a part of this search. I have seen a video on the back of that, which has been posted, which I'm sure you are aware of. What you're also saying is that you don't trust these entities in respect of whatever search.
I haven't said that. What I'm saying is that this is what should have been done and even not bring us to this point where we've been discussing this matter for 3 weeks.
Now that has been done.
No, what has been done? Hold on.
He just gave you the...
Hang on. So the ranking member makes the statement. Then the president issued a statement and said that security agencies should investigate. All that we needed to do as a country and take ourselves out of this mess is not to have the Minister for Communication put a camera in front of him and begin to narrate to us and tell us and call the ranking member Osofumoko and call him what's that? He called him another name. You understand? That
we can leave those.
Hold on. No, we cannot. We can leave those. Then he contradicts. No, he cannot. Then he contradicts himself. You see, when the Minister for Communication attempts to respond to something that the President has directed security agencies to respond to, and then he tells you, he gives you narratives that contradicts what actually transpired, because he lied in several fronts. So beyond he lied that the plane came to Ghana for certification because Luanda was not capable for doing that. That was a lie. Luanda had that capacity. Again, it has even come out that apparently the flight didn't even go to Luanda anyway. And that it came to Ghana.
Have been
hold on. So that is why even the suspicion is even reinforced.
So now that you're still
so why then do you go?
What's the call on? What exactly?
I mean, apart from even the call, let me just clarify this. In recent times, when Tim Fojo spoke, the last time I heard him, he made this claim here on the back of this. And speaking to Paula Domotri, he made mention of the fact that what he had put out was not mere speculation. In fact, let me quote. He says, "It is not mere speculation. The records exist and the relevant authorities are aware."
Yes, the record exists that the flight came from a notoriously drug and money laundering area. The records are there.
What does that suggest?
It suggests that, see, let me tell you something. If you are my senior brother, okay, and then for the past 1 week, I see Miracles, who is a weed smoker, coming to your room late night and leaving in the morning, okay, and MFI is our sister. MFI is right when he goes to tell our parent that, Charlie, Mommy, these days, this guy that has been coming to Ben's room at midnight, we have to check it out, because this guy, he is a notoriously
You just said something. MFA is right if she does this or says this. Ben, does that mean that the conjecture, the guesswork, that it could be that, means it is that?
Ben, hold on.
No, I'm just asking you.
That is why the gentleman in his statement was quite emphatic. He said, investigate and give the country a report. He never said that what he's saying is a matter of fact. Why did he say that?
There have been calls on him to also help this.
But he has helped. He has provided you with the fact that the flight came from the island, didn't go to any Luanda, came to Ghana without a patient.
Right.
He has given you the fact that...
We have all those details.
Yeah, so he has helped.
Forward, even after all of this had been given, we heard him say, even after all of this, these two presses, we heard him say that, I have more information and I'm going to put it out in the coming days. Maybe we should...
Yes, he does. Because you know why? He does because the communication minister has contradicted so many things. And that is why he's now getting more information. The more information is that, first of all, you even brought us pictures of a flight that was not in contention. It means that what are you trying to hide? Why are you trying to massage the issues? You came showing pictures, showing people lying under the plane, fixing ties, only for it to turn out that is not even the plane that we are having the conversations about. So yes, that brings about more information. Then you talk about Ghana Airport. Ghana Airport, in their statement, it was a PR thing to protect their boss. Didn't you see the statement? The statement said that they are not responsible for inspecting flights.
It was a PR thing.
If you are not responsible for inspecting flight, how do you come and tell us emphatically that the flight didn't carry anything? Are you the one responsible for it? As it stands now, have you seen...
The Ghana Civil Aviation Authority has its own duties there. The Ghana Airport Company Limited, the security services, national security, and all of that.
Yes. Have you seen
they were on the ground and did?
No. The Ghana Airport said. Ghana Airport said this. No. Who has said? I haven't heard national security speak. I haven't heard Ghana Civil
Aviation has spoken.
NACOC is not.
And when NACOC spoke, they spoke about joint work with national security.
But that is, you see, all they had to do and save us this noise was to simply come back after the president directive, not the communication minister to come and say that forget the president directive. It doesn't make sense. In fact, I don't know why the president. Hold on. I don't know why the president did that. I don't know why the president did that.
Right.
I am saying that if they had just listened to the president and not rubbish his statement.
Listen to the president.
Yes, and not rubbish the statement. Do you know what would have happened? 3 or 4 days later, NACOC or national security will simply issue a 1-paragraph statement that based on the president directive, we have investigated and we have realized that indeed this flight had challenges mid-air on its wherever journey, and he got clearance to land in this country. Subsequently, he got it fixed and he left. Will not be here. But I come and tell you that this is my suspicion, which is fact. Evidence is that it's a notorious drug area. Evidence is that it's an ambulance without a patient. And then he said, I should bring you... Hold on. I should bring you evidence.
Let's go.
I should bring you evidence. Which evidence?
I look forward to this restructuring and having you back in the...
If you allege...
I should bring you...
Thank you for coming.
What did he allege? What did he allege?
Let me just say...
Why are you doing this? Why are you doing this?
What did he allege? You are sitting here. Do you believe...
Prove what?
I mean, before you go...
Prove what?
Do you believe there was cocaine on any of those flights?
Has anybody said...
Do you honestly believe that?
There could be cocaine, because as it stands now, the contradictions from government means that they are hiding. There could be.
No, I'm just saying whether you have a certain level of...
If you have an air ambulance land in your country without a patient from a notoriously drug-known country and go back after 5 days, and to date the security agencies are contradicting themselves and contradicting government spokesperson, there could be...
This is why we're going to still have the conversation this morning. It's been another interesting conversation with Dennis Miracles Aboagye. He is aide to Dr. Bawumia. He joined us to talk about many matters arising from 2024 till the governance of the NDC now. Don't you forget, the AM show is proudly sponsored by Waylead Property. We'll be back with more conversations on, well, sanitation in Ghana generally, sanitation in Accra, and some things that have happened. What is going on? What is the way forward? We'll be right back on the AM show. Do stay.